Hi
Hi
there.
guys. I was supposed to say hi. I'm going to
Doesn't
keep
matter.
that. I'm going to keep that. Anyways, hello guys. Welcome to my YouTube video and also Picardo live stream. I'm going to do a live discussion tutorial on this piece of Battle Dash I did in the past, and it was a depiction of Rainbow Dash during the season 5 finale, and season 6 is about to begin at the time of this recording in this next week or so. I don't know when. So I guess this is the perfect time to post this video. Enjoy the video presentation, and halfway through, I'm going to bring in Nay to do a discussion of how to keep yourself motivated as an artist. So let's begin this video and start talking about stuff about it.
I'll just mute myself for the first half then.
Alright, going to start the video. There we
See
go.
you in 30 minutes.
Alright, with the video started now, it looks like I'm just taking my sweet old time in it. Doesn't look like anything's happening. Oh, that's all mouse movement. It moved! It's moving! I'm going to skip ahead. It looks like I'm getting references. Yeah, always gotta get references. Alright, there we go. We actually got something now. I put a darker color screen for my wallpaper, for my background I should say. Instead of having a full-blown white background, it's much easier on the eyes to not have the white background there, so I put the gray background. It's a little bit easier for color picking, and I don't know, it just doesn't burn your eyes out. And boy, this is really tough talking about how I draw if I keep talking to people on Picardo on the side there. Okay, there.
Spaghetti it up, boy.
Yeah, spaghetti it up. Okay, finally. I'm doing a basic sketch, and I put a circle in where the nose would be, and I put in an expression of the eyes. If you do a lot of expression sketchings, you can pretty much rough this out pretty dang quick. And doing a lot of 30-minute challenges can really help you in that. It's like, do something happy, do something sad, do something grotesque. Drawing in the cut ear, I always liked that part in the season 5 finale. But that was quite an interesting finale. All those different potential times that could have happened. I don't know what you call them, paradoxes. I don't know.
No. Okay. I'll get out of here with my trash Steven universe.
Since I remember I was just doing a quick drawing based off the season 5 finale, because everyone was drawing something based off of it. Like, I want to do something too, and I want to pick Battle Dash. A lot of other people did too, but looks like I'm using the selection tool. I didn't quite like where the eye was, so using the selection tool, I just simply moved it down, changing the position, the angle of the head quite a bit. And if you take notice, the eye is like halfway down where the bottom of the chin is and the top of the hairline is. That's generally where you need to draw eyes anyways. And it looks like I'm satisfied with my rough sketch, and I'm starting to thicken some of the borders of the lines there, and what I like and what I don't like. I use the draw erase method when I sketch sometimes. That's where I just pretty much draw erase, rather than having layer after layer. This is only useful if you're planning just to paint on top of your lines. It kind of gets really messy if you're trying to plan to do line work later. And taking a look at my live Picardo feed right now of my discussion. Hello, Percy. Welcome. While I'm in the sketch stage, you guys have any questions so far? I still have the starting soon message. yeah, I used it. I forgot to hit record. Let me quickly pause this. I wanted to record the live Picardo chat too. It's a good thing I caught this early. Okay, there we go. Resume. Okay, there we go. Now people will actually get to see what you guys are saying. Alright, let's see. It's supposed to hear both voices at the same time. Oh no, there's only one right now. Still don't really understand the draw erase method. It's just pretty much you thicken what you like and you erase what you don't like, and you're pretty much also creating lines. As you can see right now, I'm creating, I'm erasing some of the lines I just don't quite like, and keeping the lines I do like, and it almost look like line art already. And it's just another technique one of the many artists uses. I prefer this one, and it's probably one of the more easier ones to do when you're on the mobile tablet because you're limited of mobility. It's kind of ironic. And draw erase is kind of like a quicker way of getting things down. And it looks like I'm drawing in the eyebrows, the expression, really pushing that the facial muscles down, scrunching it up because she's all like, "Arr." Reminds me, did we have a question from Bizarro? I got the question. Okay. We're probably about 30 seconds behind, so if you don't see me respond to your question within 30 seconds, let me know. Alright, looks like I'm taking a little break on Picardo chat right now. That's not good. Okay, now we're resuming. Oh, I didn't expect to get this far into coloring already. About 6 minutes in, I'm already starting my coloring stage. Since this is a speed painting, I try to get into the coloring as soon as I can. That's why the lines are very loose and some sketch lines are still in there. I'm just going to be cleaning that up later. I'm just laying down a very low saturated blue because I'll be planning to add more highlights and shades later. That's pretty much laying down the base colors, keep it in a different layer as you saw there. And it looks like I changed the opacity of the lines. I didn't really want a really thick black lines to be disrupting how I've seen the drawing. And putting in the other colors too. I'm not trying to put in pure yellow. That is a desaturated yellow, as I mentioned before. I try to keep things at a very basic desaturated level before I start adding in extra colors or extra highlights in. While that's going on, any other questions? Zoom. I can't zoom in anymore. This is about as close as I can get. Don't worry, I'm recording this all on YouTube. And to those listening in on YouTube, I will be uploading also a speeded up version too. Just check out my video gallery later. So who's excited for the season 6 premiere? And hopefully it was a good season 6 and we're not like listening or watching this video a year later and we're all like, no, it was horrible.
I'm not excited at all.
I'm actually getting myself
I
a
don't
little
think
bit
I've
hyped
watched
up.
I haven't watched the rest of season 5, so I don't care right now.
Blasphemy.
Sure.
We all watch it at our own times in our own ways. Some falls out, some falls in.
I've been watching
me, I can't
way
wait me.
different shows like Wonder Over Yonder. I started watching that, and now I'm actually going back and checking out some classic old movies like The Godfather, The Exorcism, Jaws.
A lot of movies and TV shows references those movies. Like, in the reason movies Utopia, there is Godfather references in there.
Breaking Bad reference also.
Oh yeah, and
I didn't even realize
before we get
I
off
was
track
watching
too
it.
much, the original question was about season 6. It looks like you guys are getting quite excited for it. I don't really have too much excitement for season premieres unless like something crazy happens, like Twilight gets a brother. That was quite interesting. But as long as the show keeps me laughing and keeps me smiling, that I'm going to keep watching the show. And so far, I'm still laughing. I'm still smiling. If something happens that I don't quite agree with, and I don't let that bother me. All right, new things just happened in the stream. I darkened the background a little bit. As you can see, my base color wasn't completely solid, so you see some see-through happening there. I'll be fixing that later, but I just want to lay down some quick colors of what I want the background to be, a snowy landscape wasteland. So putting in some very dark, desaturated blues and light grays indicate the sky and the mountains and the snow. Just so I keep so I know what kind of colors I want to add in later. That's a very important tip right there. Add in the colors of the background, or completely do the background first before you do the character, because the
colors in the background
Right.
affect the colors on the character. Yeah, I just learned that when I was painting my recent painting.
Yeah, you do like an entire character and finish drawing it with a completely white background, and then you start adding in a volcano background into it, and all of a sudden your drawing is way too bright and completely different, not the right hues at all.
Yeah.
You know, like Rainbow Dash being a blue skinned pony character, she can be inside of a very dark and warm fire. And if you do a color picker, you find her color is actually a little bit more red than blue, and you get that color a lot earlier than otherwise. It looks like I'm changing the hue and the light and darkness up quite a bit, getting myself set up to start adding the highlights, darkening it up. It's pretty much, it's a bit of a cheat to already have a lot of the lights in, and now I just bring in the lights. And it looks like I'm still preparing the colors in. I'm using a soft light layer right now, a layer set to soft light to add in a little bit of more blue. I'm trying to work the colors to fit the mood and the lighting situation, and mood and color lighting is very important. Adding some purple, some blues, very lightly across the whole thing. Now I'm adding a screen mode in, using blues because the sky is blue, not because Rainbow Dash is blue. And I'm just adding in where I want to feel like the lights should be at, on the side of the face, on top of the hair. Getting the basic shading in pretty early. I'm not trying to worry too much about details still. This is called blocking in your colors. That's a term used by artists a lot. They pretty much throw the colors in, the shadows and the lights they want their picture to have, and then they'll start rendering the most of the image later on. So that's something you guys can write down, blocking in the colors. Alright, and while I'm blocking in those colors from my previous recording, any other questions right now? And I hope you guys are enjoying this right now. I hope you're hearing me just fine. Hope the stream is not stuttering. Yeah, the interrupting Nay.
That's my job.
And right now I'm using purple, very desaturated purple, set to multiply to shade the hair there. You guys are curious about that. And the type of brush I'm using right now is kind of a grunge brush. I didn't want to use the basic round brush. I want a little bit of texture in it. And there's nothing fancy about that brush. It's just a texture brush, Any other texture brush would do. All right, I got satisfied with the colors, and I decided to bring up the lights again by using levels and dragging the right mark further right, and add a little bit more green to it. I flip the image every now and then to make sure that the drawing looks all right. Flipping the image allows me to see the whole thing in a fresh context, because if there's any mistakes in it, your mind just dissolves that into your head, and you no longer see those mistakes. Flipping it completely refreshes your mind, and you actually be like, oh my gosh, that nose is way too big, or something like that. Alright, it looks like I'm finally beginning the basic coloring right now. I just merged those two layers, minus the background, so now all the lines and the colors is just one layer. I do that a lot with speed painting because I don't want to have to mess with is the line overlapping, or why is this not coloring in? It's because the line's overlapping. Now, alright, using the color picker a lot, I'm just picking up the colors I like and start adding in the shadings and where I feel like there should be color or where there should not be color. I'm really keeping the eye very hardly there, keeping more of a extreme expression there, rather than more fully integrated in it. All right, did I miss a question? Let's see. I was just answering his earlier question. I didn't see any questions. It looks like. I'm going to quick check my messages while apparently I'm checking out SoundCloud right now. Let's see. Nope, I don't see any whispers besides my usual people. Yeah, I did do this one already, Rubik. This is an old recording that I wanted to do a discussion tutorial over. And I need to remember not to have a lot of pauses during my recordings. Because this is a little annoying. I want to continue just talking to what my thought process is for this drawing. And here we have SoundCloud blocking the drawing. Oh boy. Hello, NC Mares. I hope to have you soon one day for a live discussion for YouTube.
Hi, NC. I love you, man.
Minder, She's distracting the recording. There we go. I had to skip forward a little bit. All right.
More interruptions than I am causing.
I gotta remember not to drag forward too much. I'm gonna have to edit this video later to make sure what I'm talking about is the same part of the video. I just realized that. Okay. Yep, around 15 minutes and 20 seconds, just for reference. Okay, so how you just painted all that in one layer, no multiplier or addition layers? Oh, I did that later. I did that earlier. I was mentioning I added a layer for soft light, a layer for multiply, just to get the basic colors and shades in. Then I just merge those layers and I'm just manually painting. That's a basic thing a lot of artists do. They do multiply, screen, soft light, but when they're done with that layer, they merge it down. They don't keep those layers. You know, sometimes you want to keep those layers if you're doing a bunch of fancy light effects. It's because you just turn that off and on, so you work with the underlying image. But for this one, I'm not doing any fancy special effects. I'm just shading Rainbow Dash with a dark desaturated tone. Alright, and it looks like I'm still adding in the basic lights right now. Since I already block in all the colors, I just color pick the ones I like and smooth over the rough details and getting the basic shape in. And I'm already kind of semi-finished with the face right there, and I'm just working on the neck. And I jump around. I don't really focus too much on one area. And as you see, I never zoomed in. I do have a large screen, so that really helps, but if you zoom in too much in your drawing, like, I must zoom into the eye, where the eye completely fills out your entire screen, and you made the eye absolutely perfect, and then you zoom out, and oh my goodness, the eye just don't work at all. That's why you don't zoom in too much. You gotta zoom out every now and then, or at least have the navigator window open so you can always check the image overall. Oh yeah, she has scars. I added a very dark purple to it, and then I added a light purple. I didn't want to make it too fleshy. I wanted like what a scar tissue is, where the skin kind of healed itself but still left a residue, and that tends to have a dark purplish tint to it rather than a red, and that keeps it PG kind of a little bit. Working on the ear, getting the highlights in. I picked a darker purple for the shading there rather than a blue, making sure my colors are not being monochromatic. I change the hue shift quite a bit when I draw, so I can avoid being monochromatic in my drawings. And usually when I Rainbow Dash, and I use light greens or light blues for the highlights, and the dark purples, or even sometimes red when I shade. It's sometimes a lot of experimenting to do when you want to get colors to pop out and be interesting, because you just go up and down the values, you just get a very monochromatic drawing, and it's very boring. Alright, let's see. Will this be available on YouTube by Know It All Sister? Yes, it will, says Volps. He's answering my questions. That's totally fine, because I sometimes miss them. Yes, I have a question about layers too. What should I do when I see error under already painted and detailed hairs? Sounds like a layer problems. I tend to merge my drawings, so I never have really problems with that. If I have to make a major change to it, I just use the lasso tool and move it. Sure, it'll make a huge hole in the layer, but I just make another layer underneath it, fill it up, and then merge it again, and just paint on top of it. So I don't have to. So it's not too much of a big deal if I have a flat layer and I made a big mistake. It's something you have to deal with when you do a minimal number of layers. I hope that answered your question. I'm not sure if I did. XBI also says, or should I not try to paint in one layer until I draw without mistakes? Now you paint however you feel comfortable with. You don't have to just draw one character with one layer like I'm doing. There's a lot of talented artists who goes a boatload of number of layers for their drawings, and there's other artists that does a more traditional style and completely does it in one entire layer. It's whatever you feel comfortable with. Sometimes you may feel like you have more control with more layers. Sometimes you feel like you have better control and more flexibility with minimal layers. For me, I started out with a lot of layers, and I just gradually dwindled down to just a few to one. And It also depends on the type of style you're doing too, because like with painterly style, like I'm doing right here, I it feels more comfortable just doing with one layer. Whereas doing like a comic or a line illustration, you generally use a lot of layers because color comics has a lot of shading and lighting effects that comic artists tends to want to have a lot of control in. So if you see a comic artist streaming and you see their layers, generally they have a lot of layers. But if you see an artist doing realistic artwork, painterly type artwork, and you see their layers, they're generally not that many layers, unless of course you're doing a lot of fancy lighting effects, like fireworks, electricity, volcanoes, some ice. Then you see more layers being added because they want to try to achieve that bloom of color or light, and that's generally not really that possible with just a minimal number of layers, unless the artist uses brush blend modes, right on top of that layer itself, which I don't really recommend unless you're just doing a speed painting like I'm doing right now. Okay, see, I thought I already drew this. Is Rubik even listening? I already answered that question. I like working up close, though I have another window open, but this is a question right now, or a statement. I like working up close, though I have another window open up of the picture zoomed out so I can see the whole thing still. That's true. I have a question. I do see that you add some kind of light on dark sides of the drawing. Why? It's a personal preference of mine, I guess. I just feel like I want to make the object feel more solid, and adding some light in the dark area allows me to do that. Of course, I don't just bring in a lighter color, the same body color. Like on Rainbow Dash's neck, I use some purple on the other side. It makes a distinction of where her neck ends and begins. Sometimes I won't add all that light and add in some dark later. I'm getting a little bit sore throat talking so much right now. So having fewer layers could be a good thing. Yes, Bizarro, it could be. Alright, looks like I'm taking a break on the recording, talking to people in Picardo. You guys like talking a lot. Silver Shadow Draws asks, I have a question. When I draw lineless, which is not a lot when I draw over the lines, I leave holes where the lines are. How do you do it in one go? Are you talking about like holes from the color in the lines and trying to fill them up? Is that what you're trying to ask? What type of brush do I use? It depends on the drawing or whatever I feel. I have a lot of brushes and I experiment a ton. I generally use a cloud brush for adding liquid effects in it, and I use a grunge brush just to generally start painting. And sometimes I use a bristle brush to add in the fur, but that's only after I make all the shading and coloring done. Like right now, I'm using color picker and to bring in some highlights on the hair right now, which I did made more bluish tint using blue set to screen mode. That's how I achieved that little light color rather than just an extremely saturated orange, yellow, or red. I'm trying to make sure, Rainbow Dash's hair not being too saturated. So I'm keeping when I pick my colors, I'm trying to avoid going to the far right of the color square. So I keeping my colors on the down low. Oh, yeah, I'm talking right now. This is a pre-recording. I'm doing a live discussion / tutorial. This will be up on YouTube. I'm trying the best I can. I could do this a lot better. And pretty soon I'll be bringing in another artist and we'll be talking about something else. Actually, he's already in the multi-stream. Hello, 35 users. Let's do another call out. Are you listening to the stream right now? I hope you're learning. I hope this is being helpful. If anything, it's just a showcase of something I did in the past. Post commentary. Oh, thank you, Know It All Sister. So how to do it? That looks like a SoundCloud again. Still here. We're going to have to do some interesting audio editing later. Alright, that's good. More or less. If you have any questions, feel free to answer right now. Right now I'm just doing some basic touch-ups right now. Making the shadows where they would be blocked by light harder edge, and the transitions of shadow softer edge. That's how you create shapes. Some shadows are soft and some shadows are hard. And by hard I mean like a harder edge. Like on the bottom of underneath Rainbow Dash's chin, there is the harder shadow edge right there. But you have the ear up on top, you have a soft transition of color. Well, it still needs to smooth out. I'm getting to it. And it looks like I'm working into more details in the eye. And when you're working with the eye, you don't really use pure white. You save pure white for highlights. And you use like desaturated blues or purples, and for the shadows I use some quite dark purples and blues. And it looks like I'm working on the uniform right now. Alright, let's zoom out a little bit. Warhorse says, question, what typical size do you start the canvas out on? Sketching, I usually do about 2K, 2000 pixels, 300 dpi. When I'm actually painting and rendering, I bump, once I'm done with the color blocking, because those are large areas of color in, I'd rather keep the resolution lower for that, for CPU management. But when I start rendering the details in, I bump the image size up about 4 or 5K. Lately I've been experimenting with 8K. The reason why I'm doing such high resolution is because I don't know if I'm going to later use my illustrations in production, or create prints, create t-shirts. I wasn't planning to do this drawing for selling at cons, but it was good enough that I decided to bring it to cons. And because I made it such a high resolution, it allowed me to print it out pretty nicely without having it look like pixelated. And it looks like I'm starting the metal wing right now. I thought that was pretty dang cool during the season finale when Rainbow Dash had the metal wing. Even though like some people who had OCs with metal wings, and like I had metal wings before it was cool. It's like what was considered as a OC trope and was used in an actual shell becomes cool all of a sudden. Scarred eye, hair covering the other eye, bit ear. If Rainbow Dash wasn't a main character, you may think she's just like an OC. But they did a good job designing her. I thought that was pretty neat. All the versions of Rainbow Dash in that season finale, that was pretty cool. Alright, let's see. You don't use gray to shade the eye, do you? I color pick. I tend to... gray will probably just naturally happen. But it depends on the scene, whether it's a shadow side or not, if there's another light source. You will make the eye reflect that. Like, let's say you're in a very warm beach scene, you may be using some blues and reds. Or if you're next to a fireplace, the eye is probably using a lot of pinks because it's reflecting the color of the fire. Let's see. It looks gray, that's why. Well, you need to practice a whole lot color picking. Trying to figure out what colors you need to use. Like maybe some more purples, some more blues. Nay says, you use warm colors or cool colors for the eye depending on the lighting. Yeah, exactly. So blues and purples were cool. Oranges and red for warm. Not the best at color, but I think that's it. Yep, you're right. I'm talking on the white. Yeah, we're talking about the white too. You don't. You just gotta experiment and see what works. I mean, go ahead and use green and see what happens. Alright, here's a little detail trick. Since I know this is going to be viewed, not zoomed in, I leave the details of the wing very loose. I have very rough. Like I noticed in my reference that looks like some holes were in Rainbow Dash's wings. I guess they're like that's where screws and bolts go to. And to indicate that, I just use one little simple brush stroke of a darker color to indicate holes right there, and bam, there's detail. you don't have to really fully render them out for speed painting, because most of the image is rendered by the viewer's eye, and you focus on more detail on what's the subject matter, but like things outside of that focal range, you can just do very basic brush strokes or shapes, and you don't have to create like super high dynamic range cities or forests, even though they do look cool. You don't really need to do that much detail for an illustration to look that great. Like right now, I just put in some blotches of darker color, and you can tell those are mountains in the background. Or the highlight on the Rainbow Dash's neck buckle, I just had one brush stroke of a lighter yellow, and that looks like a flat surface on top of it and a highlight. So it's a bit of balance of what you want to render out more exclusively or want to leave it as plain and basic, and you just leave up to the viewer's eye to create those details for you. Let's see, any questions? Panda Cake says, do you have any tips for new digital artists? Yeah, definitely practice every day. Practice what you love, definitely. Do it out of passion or out of want. Don't do it for fame or views or whatever, because that's a typical thing a lot of people trying to do, trying to get attention.
And learn how the program works.
Yeah, definitely learn how the program works for sure, because it's another tool like paper and pencil. You learn how to use a pencil. I also recommend checking out controlpaint.com. You know, control as the control on your keyboard, CTRL, controlpaint.com. That guy has a ton of tutorials, and he explains things a lot better than me. And the majority of that's free. I mean, like, why not? Let's just go and check it out. And he has a lot of advice for what we're going to be talking about later, too. Let's see. Yeah, what is he says? Know-it-all sister says, oh, good tip, Sidra. Never thought of the viewer's eye rendering the rest of the details. Well, yeah, definitely. Though I know I would use that as an excuse to be lazy. Don't get sad if you have too low view counts. Yeah, definitely. Well, I'll talk about that later. XBI says, I am blind on ugly parts of my image. I can fix anatomy and consistency errors by mirroring, eye squinting, blurring trick, but I can't see what looks ugly or disturbing after hours that I was using my image. What can be added to squinting mirror tricks to catch errors during drawing? Share it with your friends, family, whoever you may have. Create a network of people you can talk to and are willing to check out your work and like throw some critiques at you. I'm not
share it with random strangers, because they critique it a lot better than family does.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, like friends and family, like, oh, you draw so well, you're so talented. No, you don't need that. You need someone to be saying, I like what you're doing here, but the face right here looks a little too oblong, a little too scrunchy, and they're even better.
Critiques I got was I went up to some random strangers and I told them, hey, this is my friend's work. Do you mind pointing out some problems on it? And they just fucking tore it apart.
Those are the best. And of course, you know, they need to be actually focused on like pointing out things that looks wrong to them, not things like, this is ugly, ew. That's not helpful at all. There's actually a artist.
If they talk about the technicals, then they're probably helping. If they just say it's ugly and don't give an explanation to it, then it's not helpful at all.
There's I attended a digital artist workshop in Colorado, and the concept artist behind Kim Possible, that guy, I listened to his presentation, and he made mention that he stopped showing his artwork to his parents at the age of 18. Because all he gets is like, this is so good. He's like, no, I need to get better. And he got much better after that. It's kind of sounds sad, you know, your parents is a great source of inspiration, but if you're trying to figure out how to get better, you need some honest, good critiques. And that's also a good point, guys. Unless the artist doesn't want it, feel free to critique on DeviantArt of what you feel is a little off. Maybe if you're unsure about the artist, you can just ask if you can provide a critique and then wait to see if they say yes. On my account, feel free to tear up my art, guys. Feel free to tear it up. I need all the help. And by tear it up, I mean like actual pointing out the flaws and offering a solution, not just simply this is bad. All right. Let's see. What did I miss anything?
It's painting almost over. It's been like 30 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still rendering things out on the drawing. As you see, I'm adding some purples to the metal. I'm not just keeping it blue.
Ooh,
And
shiny.
I guess since Nay is kind of being more frequent in the discussion now, let's bring him in.
Hi, I am Nay. I think I introduced myself and said I wasn't going to talk, but oh well.
Yeah, this is Nayolfa, Nayolfa. Not like Nay as in horse, but that kind of fits. He did some pony stuff in the past. He does it every now and then, but he's been branching out in his own concept work, which is pretty cool.
And now I'm kind of interested in the Zootopia group.
Oh yeah, he's becoming a zoo person. Wait.
I'm not a furry, I swear.
Anyways, the topic we'll be discussing live to you guys is, let me pull up the Skype. Self-motivation, finding ways to improve. I guess we already started talking about that with that question XPI mentioned. It's a very common topic. That's why he asked it.
Yeah, it's something I know every artist goes through. No matter what, is they lack motivation at a point. They can't figure out how to keep themselves motivated and going.
I went through that this morning.
I went through that for like 3 months a month ago.
Yeah, like I'm giving myself a kind of a self-motivation right now. I have the new Pokken Tournament Wii U game sitting on my desk on display right in front of me where I can see it, not opened. I'm forcing myself to finish my commissions before I open that thing because that's going to be my self-motivation to play more games. Anyways, one thing to remember when you're looking at other people's artwork, myself, others, even you people, it's way too easy to become discouraged.
Yeah, don't compare yourself to others is something I learned very early on. I mean, you can strive to be like them, but you
could compare by like saying like okay, how did this person did this and like trying to figure out
that's a good way to compare. But don't compare like I'm never gonna be as good as them. Like I have to be as good as them or something.
And with the magic of the internet, and you in DeviantArt, if you're furry FA and the other websites now, Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook, artists are posting their work every day, every hour. I bet in the matter of the entire recording session, there's probably about 100,000 new drawings collectively online that's just got posted, and there's a lot of drawings you can find to pretty much put yourself in a rut. And
find them daily.
Yeah, I mean, there's some artists online. I'm like, no, it's even in the pony community. I'm like, why can I not draw like this person? Of various styles, and then I'm like, what am I talking about? I need to just focus on my own drawings and my own goals and keep my motivation up. If I can continuously compare myself, I would be like, which I was sometimes, but I gotta keep myself focused and keep my passion up. And by passion, I mean, just the love of drawing. That's probably what I have that's what I'm going through right now. My passion has been pretty low in the terms of getting some commissions done. I'm much more comfortable just, winging things out and just doing things on the top of my head, where commissions are planned out and it's someone else's idea that I'm rendering out. And that's like I mentioned about the game, I'm just keeping myself motivated and I gotta keep my passion up and focus on finishing the commissions, and like as if it's my own thing, like, okay, I gotta do this today, I gotta finish this, instead of like being all like, ooh, what's on TV?
Yeah. The first thing I would probably bring up in self-motivation is to keep finding ways to improve. A lot of what I notice in many artists who don't succeed is they keep drawing the same thing over and over again without trying to learn perspective, learn proportions, anatomy. They just keep trying the draw again and again, hoping that something will change.
Very
yes,
true.
you do have to draw a lot, but you have to find ways to improve the drawing.
And and I'm also kind of do that myself. I've been drawing a lot of cartoon ponies, especially ponies. And lately, I've been doodling a lot of cartoon people lately. Like I go to the airport, I bring out my sketchbook, and I see people, and I try to make a cartoon caricature of them. Like this one guy being extremely like, "Hello guys, welcome to gate 14. If you're in the A class, come on down." And I was it was like, "Oh, this guy's full of character." And I drew him with a rectangle face, huge mouth, like opening wide, making it like he's really shouting it out with a big smile, and he looks really friendly to come to. And then there's another person who looks just absolutely tired, and like he just did not want to be there. So I just gave him really droopy eyes and a little bit of a scowl expression. I make sure they don't know I'm drawing them. I'm not trying to like say, "Hey, I drew you. Here's your picture." No, that's not the purpose of drawing people in public. The purpose of drawing people in public for self-improvement is just, self-improvement, trying to get things done fast. And that is the topic that I'm trying to get to is find sources of inspiration, and that could just be anywhere. Like even if you're at the grocery store, at the bank, at your job, or
at the movies, video games. Like that's what I usually get motivated by is I play something really awesome. I'm like, dang, I wish I could create something that cool. I'm like, wait, I can. I just have to be that guy. I just get to that skill eventually.
Indeed. All right. Did I lose connection for a while? Oh, must have been earlier.
I don't think you did.
You guys have any questions about motivation? Do you have any like I have problems with this and this? Maybe Nay and I can share some
just
experience.
So we don't like miss any.
We're jumping around. We're jumping around on this topic.
Kind of.
You find it through music video. On the topic of trying to gain attention for yourself, like subscriber counts or view counts or getting comments or getting viewers on when you stream.
That can be a very toxic way to like try to improve yourself, is just doing it for others. Mm-hmm. You have to do it for yourself or you're not going to get too far.
A good way to overcome that is to stream with other people if they allow it. Like I sometimes join other people's multi-streams. Sometimes people join my multi-streams. Sometimes I go solo. It doesn't matter.
I used to, like, when I first started drawing, it was to get attention from others, but then I just started enjoying it more and focused on improving myself instead of, like, doing stuff for other people. Like, mm-hmm. I know when I started doing pony drawings, I just wanted to, like, do it for everyone so they would notice me. Like, I drew ponies. I was like, "Notice me, senpai!" And then you did. I was like, "Oh, I don't care anymore."
On the recording right now, I'm pulling up some reference images of clouds. And
clouds?
That's something you guys have to do all the time as a beginner, especially as a beginner.
References.
Pull up references.
Definitely.
Use this pretty much is if you don't know what it looks like 100%, don't draw it without a reference. And it's not cheating. Of course, you don't like draw exactly what you see, for copyrights.
Yeah.
Is actually the only reason you do that is for learning purposes. But see, I'm pulling on multiple cloud scenes that are based in winter. I'm trying to get an idea of how those clouds look like. And
I can say, like, when I don't know how to draw something, I usually trace it a few times. I don't exactly trace it. I just like completely reference the pose and everything until I can get it looking right. That's what I've been doing a lot with Zootopia drawings, to get their character designs like figured out.
I see Volp says don't do Control-C, Control-V. Actually, that's a completely different art medium. That's called matte painting, which is pretty much photoshopping. That's a different type of artwork right now. I'm using a cloud brush.
Did you ask like the people if they had any questions in the chat?
No, there is one from Bizarro. Well, he has a statement. He says, "I have trouble coming up with ideas, which can be a motivation killer."
Coming up with ideas, I don't know anything about like idea, like if you're an idea man or if you can work to be an idea man.
There's definitely methods of coming up with ideas. There's one thing that you can do is to follow a 30-minute challenge blog or website or some sort of challenge website, like on Tumblr, run by my friend MXC. There is My Little Art Challenge. There's a dash between each word. .tumblr.com. My-little-art-challenge.tumblr.com. Mondays, Saturdays, and sometimes Wednesdays, he posts a 30-minute challenge, and the topics are very random, and they're voted on in his Picardo stream too. And pretty much you just kind of do that challenge, and that solves art blocks and pretty much gets you motivated. Like, hey, I have an idea for this.
If you're talking about creative ideas, like a great way to come up with a lot of ideas is to literally just open Word and type whatever comes to mind. I mean, don't even think about it. If it sounds bad, type it in. Like, this is what I do a lot for school projects in college when I'm coming up with some ideas for design concepts. It's like, okay, I have bikes. What am I going to do with it? And I just keep running through ideas until I came across, like, bike puns. That was 60 ideas in. I came up with bike puns, and I started sketching them out, and they were pretty good. So I was like, hey, this is something that people might, like, want to buy if it was a poster or whatnot, like a t-shirt. This would satisfy the consumers at the bike show. Yeah, that was kind of a weird rant, but bleh. Type down a lot of ideas.
Yeah, definitely.
Bad or good.
And some people's wondering about how did I float those references on top of Photoshop there. That's a third-party program I use on the Mac.
ScreenFloat? Right?
Yeah, ScreenFloat, one word. And I don't know. I think there might be a Windows equivalent.
I can search for a Windows equivalent.
Yeah.
Quick if you want me to.
But I think I might have saw one before that it allows me to float screenshots right on top of things and resize them, move them around. It even creates a library which I can add tags. So I can create like a reference library over time. That's a good tip. Create a reference library so you don't always have to continuously search for the same thing.
Create a reference library or follow a lot of creators that you can use like as references.
Oh yeah. People as
like
reference.
My teachers always tell me to follow other like designers so I can get inspiration from.
There you go.
And, like,
follow for inspiration. Like instead of like seeing this ultra high realistic painting or crazy lighting effect illustration, instead of letting it get to you, create goals that allow you to reach that.
Oh yeah, that's another thing is making sure you set reachable goals. You can't set unrealistic goals for like your skill or whatnot. You have to build up to that. Like, I think I have a whiteboard in my room right now where I have some goals for each month and a to-do list. And all of them are building up to some bigger things. So you want to set some very small yet reachable goals to help you improve as an artist and to get to, like, this overarching goal. In the future, I really want to do something like producing entertainment, whether it's a video game or a movie.
Mm-hmm.
That would be really fun. So one of the things I want to work on is storyboarding, because that's a very important step in any movie making. So I wouldn't mind doing that if I was.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, I'm doing something a little bit different there. I'm using a texture brush that's combined with other brushes, and I'm technically doing a Boz Ross method here, using a dark mountain and painting white right on it on the edges there. There's an interesting tip. Watch Bob Ross videos and actually do the actual tutorials on your digital canvas.
I actually think I'm going to follow Bob Ross. I forgot I was going to do that like a while ago.
I need to do that. Bob Ross is amazing.
We should do a stream of that sometime, like a multi-stream where we just follow a Bob Ross video and do the same painting and see how it turns out.
Paint some happy little clouds. Paint some happy little trees.
That'd be actually a pretty funny stream, like seeing how each of our drawings of the same exact thing turn out, like paintings.
Oh yeah. All right, let's see did we talk about setting reachable goals?
Yeah, I just went on that tangent.
Yeah, we can talk more about
it.
We can talk a little bit more about it. Let's say that you're trying to figure out how to draw an anime, like cartoons a little bit better. Doesn't matter which one. Let's say, for example, like My Little Pony. I was going to say, before you actually start drawing in the cartoons, it's not a bad idea to actually learn the real horse anatomy, or of people, learn the real
Yeah.
people anatomy, because cartoons is pretty much bending and breaking the rules of what is realistic, and you can't bend and break the rules if you don't know what those rules are.
Yep.
Ooh, I'm using my favorite brush for snow. It's just basically a grunge splatter brush that was actually meant to be for blood, but I found a good use of it for snow. Yeah, it's blood brush I downloaded from DeviantArt, and it's useful for snow. Who knew?
Edge.
Edgy.
Oh, I accidentally drew a face a bit small.
Citra, when you shade your realistic ponies, how do you know you're shaded enough? You keep adding colors, and when do you know? Okay, that's enough. That's a thing every artist has to pretty much have to figure out, is knowing when to stop. An artist can pretty much keep adding to an illustration forever. And ever.
Yeah, I
and
was
ever,
doing
and
that
ever.
for a week on the last painting I was working on.
Yeah,
I
you
was
pretty
like,
much
oh.
just need to okay, that's enough. I need to move on, and let's go.
Yeah.
Sometimes
you need to know when to stop yourself, or you'll just spend like an entire month on one thing.
I just did something interesting in the recording. I used motion blur on the snow, and made it had some motion to it, to the background, to the storm.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing you do that a few times.
It's an interesting trick. I recently learned in one of the Photoshop CC versions. I'm running Photoshop CS6. You can actually control the way the motion blur moves. Like, instead of just completely just one direction, you can actually make it curve. I'm like, that is neat. That is super neat. It almost makes me want to get Photoshop CC and pay something every single month.
Yeah,
Almost.
Photoshop CC.
I'm adding in some colors now. Adding some purples at the bottom, some blues in the background. I'm just, this is color theory, pretty much. Just making the background not too gray, but also not too colorful at the same time. It looks like I'm using screen mode too, so that's why the background got a little bit brighter. Screen mode is a way to add a little bit more brightness to your image instead of a harsh dodge tool, which I don't recommend using in Photoshop. And now I'm using a new layer and adding in the same snow on top of Dash, so it finishes the effect. It looks like the drawing is almost done. That's cool.
Alright, then I guess we should talk about the last thing, the traps you can fall into.
It's a trap!
Motivation. You were waiting to say that, weren't you?
Yeah.
I don't have any ideas on mind of what to talk about. I know this is something that a lot of people do have trouble, like, getting this repetitive motion and not moving on.
Church has some good points here. If you're working on something and want to know if it has enough yet, try switching to black and white. If it still looks good, then you probably got enough contrast. That is a trick. That's a digital trick for checking your values and the contrast. And by what we're talking about is when you switch the image into grayscale without doing any extra filters to it, if you can clearly identify what you're drawing and it doesn't look like they're like two different colors or two different shades or too much the same gray, then your drawing is coming out right. Because otherwise, the image will kind of look dull and washed out. And it looks like I'm talking to Percy in the past. And his internet died.
Time travel. Oh, that was very suggestive.
And Vest is in the past too, talking about let's play. Everyone guess what's on the naughty word list. I'm the recording, Percy. It's pretty much it captured what you were saying in the past.
Dun dun dun.
And is that it? Did I just finish and I'm just talking to people on Picardo?
I think that is. Yeah, you were working on that for like 40 minutes. You probably were told like, hey.
No, I don't think I'm
up.
done yet. I haven't done my final touch-ups. And I don't think I have done yet. Okay, let's continue talking about motivation.
Okay. Do you
Sorry.
have any ideas on like traps you can fall into? I can't really think of anything.
I will say
Like we can probably ask the chat if
Social
they have like
trap.
something that can stop them from drawing. Like
I say
getting moving.
a trap I'm currently in right now is a social trap. You network with people a lot, or you create a fan base to the point where you people starts knowing you and starts requesting to talk with you, like on Skype or DeviantArt or anywhere else. It can be extremely time consuming. While I do love talking with people, and it's just who I am. I just like talking to people. It can really slow down my artwork, and it has a whole lot in this past half year, like a ton. And I'm trying to get better at it. I'm getting a little better at it. My friends are being supportive and understanding in that aspect, and I'm grateful for that. It's like I wake up in the morning like P Diddy. No. Anyways, I wake up and I go straight to Skype and I try to catch up on my messages, and my Skype is no longer Skype. It's like a Tumblr, and people leave messages, and I have like 40 messages to get back to. I'm not talking about chat groups either. And there's a point where you just have too many contacts, and it's like Facebook back in its early days. Everyone just happens to know each other from high school and they friend each other. Just like it's like a little overwhelming, and it sounds like a problem like people would love to have. I'd say no. I'd rather just have like 5 people I talk to. That's about it. I'm just or just one. I'm completely fine with just having one person to talk to every now and then. And
the Trich Guion guy just had a good idea about the setting reasonable goals for yourself. Like each project should be 90% stuff you've done before and a small amount of new.
See, yeah, each project should be 90% stuff you've done before and on small amount. Oh yeah, definitely. And let's see. Let me finish up the social trap. And it gets you to it doesn't allow you to. It really make you become lethargic, and what used to be maybe like a 1 hour drawing becomes 5-6 hours, stuff like that, and the source of that could be Picardo, but honestly, Picardo's become kind of a motivation for me to draw, because even if no one's there, I'm recording, I must be doing something. And I see Silver Shadow says, Citra, what do you do to get out of artist block? Oh, we can touch back on that later.
Well, it's already been for an hour. Going for an hour.
The stream is still going. I guess I mistimed how long this will be. Let's see, actually, it's a professional technique to add light using color dodge. A lot of professionals do use it, but it's dangerous because you easily saturate. Yeah, you could use it, but you have limited control on it.
Here's a question from Mr. Enter. How to be motivated after a million failures?
That just means you're close, man. You're close to getting an actual win. You have to fail a lot before you actually get somewhere. Because you don't just be like, I draw a sketch, boom, I have lots of people follow me now. No. Sometimes sometimes that does happen. But that's not
he just doesn't know where to start. That's the main problem my friend's been having.
Doesn't know where to start.
He's just been drawing a lot, failing. He doesn't know how to improve.
Talk to somebody who has experience in this, and they'll let you know where they feel like you can focus on. And
that is one thing I do not know how to explain, is how to start drawing, how to figure out where you should improve on first. How you should get better.
A whole lot of sketches. You gotta do a whole lot of sketches, and
would it be real life sketches? Do you think?
It's various sketches. Like when I went to Colorado Digital Artists workshop, there was about 150 artists there that was in attendance, and during the seminars and the training sessions, every single time there's a break. 5-minute break, about half of the people stands up and starts socializing with each other. The other half sits in their chair and brings out their sketchbook and starts sketching right away. These guys, every single time they have a free moment to themselves, they pull out their sketchbook and start sketching things out. I'm like, dang. They're always sketching. And even during the presentation, sometimes it gets a little long in one part. Sometimes they sketch during that too. This guy right next to me, traditionally with a pencil, graphite, and all that jazz, he was doing tiny thumbnail sceneries. Oh my goodness! In just a short amount of time, he pulled out this sci-fi city, a desert landscape, and all that jazz, just out of nothing, and he just jumps from topic to topic, forest, city, ocean, space. He just keeps jumping, and the thumbnails drawings are no bigger than 1.5 inches wide, just very tiny stuff. So that's pretty much how you can get yourself become more improved. Is pretty much get the knowledge in, get the experience in, and you pretty much have to draw every single waking moment of free time you have, and don't share it. It's kind of a weird thing to say because you waste time scanning, uploading, renaming, posting on DeviantArt, all those social networks.
Don't post every single little thing you do. But like the good thing to do is post your successes.
You pretty much, if you have more drawings that you have not shown, you don't have to upload it, that you're doing something good. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
Even in the beginning when I was first starting, I only uploaded the works that turned out to be like pretty decent comparative to like all the others. I had so many failures when I was first starting out.
I know, right? Any other questions? And I hope I didn't jump off topic too much. And right now in the recording, I'm using screen and color dodge with blues, mid-range blues, and slowly adding in some lights right now. Oh, I'm even doing it on the rear and the tail right now. I'm pushing it. I'm adding depth to it right now. That's a trick. And adding blues with screen mode and to the back parts of characters or back elements in the drawings, it really pushes things in the back. You should get on that, Percy. Atmospheric effects, woo! Air is blue. Yes, it is. We're at the hour point. And the drawing's almost done. You guys this is your last chance to get some questions in.
Please ask them. I want to answer as much as possible about motivation because I don't know.
How would you do a glow? Exactly what I'm doing. Soft brush, screen, or
keep
color
from being
dodge.
Distracted. Just do it. Okay, I had to say it at least once. You know what?
I didn't know that meme existed until BronyCon, and I heard people was yelling it randomly. What are you yelling about? Like I'm not a touch
being
with
distracted. Probably have yourself like something you really want to do, even for your experience level. But how can I say that better?
It says, how exactly do you pick good colors for grass in different color schemes? I have some difficulties with just that. Reference, practice, experiment. Like practice some meadow grass, practice some dry grass, practice some grass and snow, practice some mountain grass, practice some grass going off in the distance, practice graph that is very close to you. Reference. Keep the sketches minimal. Don't focus too much on completing everything right from the beginning. Just get get 50, 20, 100 different sets of grasses on one page. Do a 100 challenge. And then when you need to have grasses in your artwork, bam, you know exactly how to do it.
Okay, the answer, the depression and distracted thing, that takes motivation of yourself, like self-motivation.
You always will become depressed every now and then.
Yeah, you will fall into depression, be distracted if you can't be motivated to keep yourself into the groove.
Yeah.
How would you even explain that? I know, I got depressed a lot when I was drawing. I drew the Get Out of Depression back in the old days.
Let's see, when I'm depressed, I draw even more. That's very good, Pelby. This is how to practice, effective, and productive. How to make them more effective. How to make them more effective and productive. Keep researching and making sure what you're doing is the correct way. Sometimes you can be practicing the wrong thing. And tutorials don't hurt either. Checking up on tutorials online and actually do them, not just read about it. That helps.
Oh yeah, actually do the practices.
It's like when I was first started digital art, I just like read up of like 20 tutorials and went to bed. I didn't do a thing about it.
Depression would probably be its own topic in itself. I don't know how they answer that.
Yeah, it's
I would probably have to like write an entire essay on it instead of like improvising a speech about it.
And right now, I'm doing more final touches. I'm using a adjustment layer. There we go. I like using color balance to shift the blues and purples around to how I like it. I felt like it needed a little bit more purple and stuff like that. I check my levels. I adjust my levels, make sure the lights are the brightness I wanted it to. And I think I'm about to merge all the layers with a shortcut too. And call it a finished painting. XPI says, Twilight, I am not an egghead. I am a well-read. I had read a lot about running. I love that scene. I haven't seen season 1 for a long time. I need to just watch some episodes again.
My sketching is slow, and maybe it's because I'm trying to perfect it. Ha! Yes. Yeah, like I think a lot of people do have trouble with that at a point. Is like when they first start sketching out stuff, they have to make it perfect. No, your first sketch should be really loose, and then you should go refine it and make it look a lot nicer.
Yeah, and you have to also, if you're doing an actual full drawing, you definitely need to make sure your sketch is accurate. But
for the people in the chat, I can like bring up a reference to this, like how loose the first drawing I did was.
Yeah.
But you have anything you want to add to what you're saying?
What I was going to say is do a ton of sketches, very loose, like fill out a whole page. But if you're doing like a full drawing, you're planning to actually do a full drawing, you can start off very loose and then try to refine the sketch a little bit. If it doesn't look right, because a bad sketch doesn't matter if you do fully beautiful colors and shading, it will still reflect the errors. Every now and then I jumped the gun too much on the coloring part, and there is the signature. The drawing is done.
No.
And that concludes this recording session, guys. I hope you like it. Sorry the recording was a little bit
jumbled.
Yeah, it was,
like our conversations are really jumbled and messy. Like probably would answer more comments in the YouTube.
So Bug Player says, "What do you guys eat to be so beautiful?" We eat horses. Anyways,
I eat chicken. It's good.
All right, and chicken. to wrap this, let me scrap this. To wrap this all up, what was I going to say? To wrap this all up, I just want to make a small announcement, guys. I'm confirmed for several conventions that's coming up. I'm confirmed for BabsCon. I'm confirmed for Everfree. I'm confirmed for BronyCon. I'm considering more cons too. If you guys are going to those cons, you're definitely going to be seeing me there. Who's going to those cons? To give a shout out. And also, don't forget to check out Nayolfa's DeviantArt gallery, and don't forget to follow and subscribe to him. He was really helpful for today's stream because I needed some other voice, so you don't hear my voice that's going out and getting a little bit sore throat here. So I'll catch you guys all later. Thanks for coming. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, comment, check out my other videos. Say who's best pony. Hopefully it's Applejack. I'll catch you guys later. Bye.